Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Political Theater, everybody. I wasn't sure I was going to have a show today, but I think I actually am going to do one because there's too much to talk about. There's too much going on, so I really need to have a show. So I need to be able to think through some of the things that I'm talking about, some of the things that I'm thinking about. And there's a lot going on, so we need to get in through some of these things. So I need to at least have a few minutes to talk about it, a few minutes to go over it. Maybe I'll have a full show. I haven't decided yet, but regardless, we need to get into some of this stuff. So the amount of fraud that is being uncovered right now is astronomical, obviously. Everyone is aware of that much, but it just continues to snowball, which is why I want to talk about it for a little bit. Because if anyone has been paying attention, there's some new things that have come out today that are even more ridiculous than you could possibly have imagined. There's a guy that I was actually talking to a few days ago, and he's building out a new website called Somali Scan. And I was telling him, what the things I think he should add to it, some of the stuff that he should add to it, some of the things that need to be added to it, where the most important aspects of this, investigation should go. And I gave him the recommendation. I said, you know what you should do? You should take you should take it and you should cross-reference the data within it with FEC records. And lo and behold, after he puts it through FEC records, he shows up with $35 million donated to political campaigns just in Minnesota. $35 million. So what does that mean for the rest of the country? How much money is in the rest of the country? How much money is everywhere else? I mean, if there is really that much money going around in the political campaigns coming directly out of these freaking Somalian daycares, that's astronomical. Now, I'm not entirely sure the data that he put out, the actual image that he put out. I'm not sure if that's in the direct information or if that's just a compilation of stuff. So I haven't talked to him to be able to figure this out. But I mean, what he said was $35 million in daycare money. So whether or not that's true or not, I haven't been able to verify it yet myself. But I am not going to be surprised. Now, the real question that I had when I was looking at this stuff was, what if, and this is the reason I told him to do it in the first place. I said, what if this is how it works? Okay, so LLCs in the United States can only donate up to $2,000 per political candidate. Okay, so that's what the initial, that's how much they're allowed to donate, right? Well, in the same topic that we're talking about, all these LLCs that are being part of the 501c3s, which is what the discussion was about a couple days ago on the show, if that's the case, right? If that's the case, so LLCs are popping up as part of NGOs, and they've got a whole network of them that work with them, right? So if you've got a ton of LLCs that are all part of NGO networks, and then they donate directly to political campaigns, you can have upwards of, 5, 10,000, 15,000, however many there are. And that's what made me start thinking about this. If this is the case, how many fraudulent organizations are there in the first place? How big is the fraud? And how much of our economy is based in NGO? I mean, really, if you start thinking about it, it kind of gets you into a mode where you're like, oh shit, is everything fake? I mean, really though, you have to think about this. So there are some numbers out there that you can talk about this with, right? So you've got NGOs that operate, and there's about 10% of the American workforce is working for NGOs right now, 10%. So the problem with that is that doesn't account for all the LLCs that those NGOs then own, right? So you imagine that, right? So you've got 10% of the workforce is NGO or working for nonprofits. It's just nonprofits in general. Okay. So you've got 10% of the workforce is doing that. But then if you've got another, 10 organizations for each one of these NGOs, how much of our economy is this? I mean, really, if you start thinking about it, it's kind of daunting, right? Imagine if there's 20% of our economy is essentially propped up by these NGOs. That's kind of terrifying to think about. But let's set that aside, because that's essentially, a doomer conversation. Everything's fake and gay. But let's not go over that. Let's stick with the NGOs that are donating to political campaigns, because that's something that we will be able to verify at some point very soon here. So if the campaigns are getting money directly from these NGOs, and they're essentially doing that by pushing the money into the NGOs then send it out to their little LLCs, and then the LLCs donate to political campaigns. That was my theory, and it looks like that's going to be proven out. And that was based on the data that he's released so far. So I think that's going to get proven out entirely, and we'll be able to see a list of who's doing that, because FEC records are intentionally transparent, even though they're kind of obnoxious to be able to look through. So here's the next section of this theory, though. How exactly are the NGOs getting so much money to be able to do that? because the amount of money that they have, some of them it eclipses the amount of money that they actually receive each year. So how exactly are they able to do that? Well, I thought about something else, and I don't, it's an annoying theory, but it very well might be true as well. What if, for the sake of argument here, what if these NGOs are getting foreign donations? Okay. So at the beginning of the year, everyone was all focused on USAID. What if USAID sends the money out to foreign entities, sends the money to the foreign entities do whatever they need to do with it, and then they wash it, and then they send it over to a U.S. 501c3 nonprofit. Okay? Then the 501c nonprofit pushes it down to their LLCs, and then the LLCs donate that to political campaigns. Seems plausible. We haven't proven it out yet, but listen, guys, if this is the case, if these numbers turn out to be true and accurate, that there's $35 million just in Minnesota, that is going to be an astronomical amount of money that's being pushed into these campaigns, and I don't doubt it at all. My theory the whole time when I started looking at this is like, I bet you what you're going to find is it's going to be a block. And I wanted him to, the reason I told him to add FEC records is because my theory was that if you start looking at some of these organizations, okay, my theory is that what you're going to see is that all of these businesses, they all donate to multiple political candidates. That's what my real theory was. It's not going to just be one. If they donate to political candidates, I bet you they donate to 20 political candidates. So that was what I wanted him to look at. And it looks to me like this is going to get proven out. Whether or not I am right, I guess we'll find out soon enough. But that leads us to a whole bunch of questions because the amount of fraud is it's just growing. Every single day it's growing. For those who've been paying attention to the Minnesota stuff and the Ohio stuff, today I published a new article talking about there's an exclusive on WCDispatch.com, or those who are subscribers there, you got to already read this. And then I put a thread out that went through some of the key claims. Didn't tell the whole story on it, but there's enough that people can understand it. But the exclusive I released earlier is the link between Minnesota and Ohio. So there's a firm that is an accounting firm that works for both Minnesota and Ohio Somalian daycare places. Amazing, right? And it's funny how that works. So you have a Somalian daycare auditing group, whatever. Okay, and it's not even auditing the daycares themselves, by the way. It's auditing the NGOs that sit as the umbrella companies over top of those LLC daycares. That's what it's really auditing. And the best part about this is, so one, it happens to operate in both Columbus, Ohio, and sign audits for Minneapolis, Minnesota. But even better than that is that it actually failed its regulatory review and has had its license revoked. Yes, you read that. You heard that right. I mean, that's what's happened. So this firm, this little auditing firm, whatever the hell the name of it is, it's H&H Bacharach or something like that. I mean, and by the way, it's a house. I looked up the location. I found out where it's based in. It's literally just some dude's house. Okay, so it's not even like a business front or anything like it's not some professional firm. And you would think that when you hire a firm to do your audit for the federal government, that you would hire like an actual firm that actually does this, not just some random dude who's got a CPA license. But yeah, no. So anyway, so he has his CPA license revoked by the state of Ohio, pending that he go and inform all of the places that he was working for that he did non-compliant audits. You see what I mean there? So non-compliant audits. How many places did he send non-compliance letters to? Did he send them? How many did he send them to? Who knows? We don't know yet. But these are the firms. This is now a direct and physical link. There's actual signed papers and documents between Ohio and Minnesota. So that's what was proven today. So that is the new thing that came out. That's what we've been working on. Data Republican and I have been all over this. This story is only getting bigger. The fraud continues to grow. The amount of money that's involved continues to grow. By the way, we also believe that it's not just going to be, for those who have been paying attention to what I've been talking about, the SERC, which is the Somalian Education Resource Center that operates out of the back of a Motel 6. That place also, not only does it get $42 million in federal money, but it also receives money from the state. So we haven't even determined how much money it actually gets in total. So we're now eclipsing the original $42 million that we were looking at this specific organization. And this is just one of them, by the way. This is just one of the many other organizations that we're looking at as part of this investigation. It just keeps getting bigger. It's bigger every single day. So the real question is for this show this evening, and for everybody who's listening and everyone who's tuning in, I appreciate it. This is Walter. My name is Walter Kurt, and this is the Political Theater. This is a weeknight show. Appreciate everybody who's been here. I wasn't even intending to do one today because it's New Year's, but I can't do anything else. Like, I've been thinking about this all day long, so I have to do this. So anybody who wants to come up here and speak about this, you're welcome to join the show now. We are on live on X on the on X Spaces. If you want to tune in, that's the call in for the show, guys. If you guys are on Substack or on any of the other streams, I read the comments throughout the show. Make sure you guys leave a comment. Tell me what you think about what we're doing here. And go to WCDispatch.com and become a premium subscriber there, or subscribe right on X and become a premium subscriber, and you'll get first access to any of the new information that we release. So this is just where we're going, guys. The question is, how big is the fraud? How much is there really? You know, Elon Musk said that he thinks that 20% of the federal budget is fraud. I mean, that would be $1.5 trillion for those who are not paying attention. That's a hell of a lot of money. Hell of a lot of money. And it also starts to explain why we're so in debt. It also starts to explain why none of our programs seem to work properly. And the real question becomes how many politicians are they paying off? How many politicians have taken our money directly from these fraudulent schemes just so they could stay in office? That's what I want to know. And that's the next stage of this. And I'm going to find that out. You know, a few days ago, if you were paying attention to what I've been talking about online, I said, you know, if you were one of these politicians that you stole from the American people and you stole fraudulent dollars, accepted the political donations, let them fund your campaigns just so your useless self could stay in office, your days are numbered. We're coming for you. Those people are going to get thrown out of office. I'm going to make sure I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you're stealing our money, if you're stealing taxpayer dollars and running it through fraudulent daycare schemes through third world immigrants so you can stay in office, you don't deserve the fucking seat you're sitting in. No one does. Not a single person. I don't care if Republican, Democrat, Independent. None of that shit matters anymore. If you're doing this and you're accepting the money, you need to get out of office. And we're going to make sure it happens. All right, guys, I'm going to let some speakers up to the show. I appreciate everyone who's being here. If you guys would like to join the show, you are more than welcome to do so now. I've got an open mic for people who want to come up here and ask questions and talk. We've got other stuff we're going to talk about too. So I'm going to go through a little bit more of the details on this, on the Minnesota link, because there's a couple other key pieces of this information, because this is all linked together now. And now we're starting to see that it's obviously going to get larger and larger and larger. So I brought a couple people up here. What's up, Patriot Forge?
Yeah, you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. So I wanted to tell you a few points. One point is I actually posted this yesterday. I replied on Data Republican. I did uncover that in 2018, what's it called? The Jeff Bezos gave $2.5 million to the Somalian, one of the Somalian community refugees scams. So I posted that. So
well, I'm not surprised by that at all. Listen, the NGO fund who's paying for this stuff, I'm not going to be surprised if it's all the people that we hate. I mean, that's not going to be surprising at all. But the real question is not like how much money is being given to these things. It's how much money are they putting back into the system. Okay, right now, we understand that these things are fraudulent. All right, I understand that these things are fraudulent. We get that. We know that they're running fraud schemes. We know that we're paying them. But here's the deal, guys. The freaking Somalis are not the ones figuring this out. Okay, someone is doing this. Someone is setting this up for them. Someone is teaching them how to do it. Someone is working with them to how to do it. And some other people are working and looking the opposite direction. I mean, they're paying them nothing. Okay, it's not like these people are making millions of dollars off of it. They're not like, and this is how you know it's not them, okay? It's not them coming up with the scheme. The other day, Nick Sorter was outside of the Quality Leering Center and watching 7 Somalis stand around trying to figure out how to take tape off of a door. These people are fucking morons. They have no idea how to do this stuff. There is no way they came up with a multi-layered, fraud scheme that operates across state lines and scams billions of dollars out of the system, along with not ever being able to get caught. Like, they're not doing this, guys. Someone is working with them and teaching them how to do it. That's the real question. So we need to figure out how they're doing it and where the money goes. And that's where we need to figure out where the cut goes. Okay, because the wheels are getting greased somewhere. Now, there's a theory. Data Republican and I were talking about this, and her theory is kind of like along the lines of, it's not necessarily that it's funding people directly. It's not like it's a kickback system, but it's like the whole system is built on it. Okay, so like if you have 10% of the workforce is NGOs, and it's the white liberals that work for the NGOs, right? So 10%, they all get paid, decent amount of money to work there, and that's how they get paid, and that's how they make their money. And then they move that down to the LLC level, and that's where they have their foot soldiers, and that's how they pay those people, and that way they can push more money into the campaign. So maybe you don't necessarily need a direct cut It's just part of the grift. It's all devised so that you can do this stuff together, and that's the reason you're not finding the obvious, someone getting paid on the side, someone stealing money, because technically to them they're stealing all of it. I mean, if you're running the NGOs and you're getting the NGOs to get taxpayer dollars and then taking the taxpayer dollars and putting it back into the campaigns, I think that's the real cut. I mean, that's it. You don't need to look for anything else. I don't think it's necessary to look for anything else. I think that's it. Were you going to respond to that or no? Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Patriot. Go ahead, Patriot.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree on that. And then also in that, the famous video of Jacob Frey dancing with the Minnesotans by the Somalia Fest, whatever that the event was called. You see in the sign, you were only able to see like half of it in the video, that it says presented by Amazon. So like always by these events, you have like the big names on it, and it's just like things are off. Like you're
guys, that's not
sponsoring these events.
That kind of stuff is not relevant. Okay, people, like, you can convince a large company to to sponsor freaking anything. Okay, like if you're somebody that has a decent viewership on anything, their advertisement budgets are so astronomical they don't even care. They just be, yeah, oh, that'd be great. They just put it on there. I mean, it probably cost them nothing to do that. It cost them $20, and the people that did the event probably got $5,000 for it. I mean, it's that's not something that I would worry about. When it comes to advertising, I don't think about that kind of stuff. That's not grift that you're looking at. We're talking about millions of dollars being pumped directly into political campaigns. That's what's more important to look at. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Thank you, brother. So I am Somali. I am also from Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess my question is, they're all suddenly the thing about Somaliland by the Israelis is they're recognizing, and the same day they're also bringing up these issues. It seems like it's more than just a coincidence. Somehow Somalia, a nation that has barely been talked about for many years, is now being brought to the news cycle every single day, and you see it as a talked about place on the tweeters. So, I feel there is no fraud. It is all a conspiracy by the Israelis. And I just doubt anything that this is really big, because think about it, the amount of fraud by the U.S. government.
So hold on. Just stop for a second, Jimmy. You think there's no fraud?
Well, very little fraud.
Okay, well, you're just wrong. All right. I mean, like, I'd love to tell you that you could have some sort of point, but you're not even remotely correct. I'm telling you right now. Me personally, I am looking at $40 million worth of fraud. Just me. Just me alone. Just me. What do you mean that's it? $40 million, dude. That's a lot of money.
That's nothing.
Jimmy.
I also own a daycare center,
Jimmy.
And I can tell you that.
All right, Jimmy, you also run a daycare center? Are you kidding me? Like, are you just a troll? Like, I mean, that's hysterical. If you
my family, we run a hospice, a daycare center, an assisted living facility, all in Minneapolis. And I can tell you, honestly, with all these centers that we have and all the Somalis across Minnesota, there's almost 150,000 of us.
So hold on, just hold on just a second here. Are you telling me you're actually a Somali that runs a daycare in Minnesota?
It's common.
Okay, so I can't deal with this. This is like the funniest thing that's ever happened. So let me explain something to you, okay? So I know you may not understand this. Maybe you do understand this. I don't know. But let me tell you something, okay? I have now had a friend of mine run a data set on every single Somalian business in the country, okay? Now, I would like you to answer this question. How many Somalian businesses exist in the country that have never received federal funding via SBA, via PPP, probably any of that? And how many do you think it is?
Probably one has not received.
That would actually be accurate. It is literally one, and it is a fashion company in New York. Yeah, but that's not a good thing, dude. That's not a good thing. You're not supposed to, and not every single business is supposed to receive federal dollars. That is the most absurd thing ever. That's not how this works in this country. Okay, that's the problem here, and that's what you don't understand. That is only evidence that there is even more fraud than you think there is. Okay, that's what that means.
Brother, can I please reply?
Okay, you can respond. Go ahead.
So, 3 points. One is, doing business is very hard. As you know, you need to make a profit. And these loans, they exist. We have three types of loans. One is small business loans. Another one are the grants from the state governments and sometimes the federal government. And the third one is the PPE, all those other loans that exist.
Yeah, okay, but here's your problem, dude. Some of these are being funded by the Department of Agriculture for daycares, man. I wish I could have this conversation with you, but listen to me. You're either just a troll or this is the funniest conversation I've ever had. This is either you're either just a troll or the funniest conversation I've ever had with somebody who's just obviously just playing the troll just a little bit too hard here. So I'm gonna have to send you on because I'm not sure I buy it. But it would be very funny if this was true. If there was actually a Somali who came up here and said, well, I do own daycares and hospice centers, and we all do, and we all get federal funding, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. That would just be the funniest damn thing if that actually happened. Someone on my show joins and is actually Somali. I just think that was just a really well done troll, which I do appreciate. I do appreciate a good troll. But I mean, no. Okay, so we're not going to pretend that there's not fraud in these systems, guys. There's millions and billions dollars worth of fraud, and that's just getting bigger by the minute. Like I said, just the one that I'm looking at is $40 million, and that's, by the way, that's only in federal money. So anyway, that was very entertaining. So Jimmy, thanks for coming up here. That was easily the funniest conversation I've had all week. I mean, I actually needed that. I've been sitting here dooming, thinking the entire country is fake. There's no real money. No one's ever made anything happen. I've been thinking about that half the day. So thank you, Jimmy. That was very, very entertaining. Okay, let's see here. I got a bunch of people up here on stage. Jay, what's happening, buddy?
Well, can I cut in real quick?
No. Key, just put your hand up, and I got to go to Jay first. Go ahead, Jay.
No, Walter, I was just going to say I already have him blocked.
Oh,
so
okay. Well, I mean, whatever. That was a very funny troll, regardless. I mean, just we all own daycare centers. Oh, fuck.
And yeah, him and Candace Owens are good friends, apparently.
Well, that explains the IQ issue. Anyway, continuing. All right, go ahead, Key.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because he was in here, and I just picked up 1,000 daycare centers. They're going really cheap right now in Minnesota. I don't know why they're marking them down right now, but I was like, I might as well just grab them. They're 99% off right now.
That's right.
So
99. There's a strange reason they keep everyone's running away. The doors are closing. They're giving away hotcakes right now. You can get them pennies on the dollar. I mean, I love it. It was a pretty funny troll. So that's not that bad. I don't mind it really. But very entertaining regardless. I mean, just can you imagine if that would actually happen? A real Somalian came in here was oh yeah, I own daycare. Oh fuck. Of course you do. I mean, apparently, did you guys see this? This is amazing. Data Republican published this earlier. Did you guys know that the current head of the UN Security Council is Somalian currently, which is actually not that's not abnormal. It rotates and whatnot. Okay, but that guy owns a freaking healthcare place in Ohio. I'm not even joking. He actually does. He owns his own healthcare organization in Ohio and was sued for Medicaid fraud. I mean, what the hell is happening? Every Somalian in the country is apparently part of this. I mean, it's almost unbelievable at some point, but I don't know how else to think about it. It is just so ridiculous to me. I mean, just the current head of the UN Security Council was sued for Medicaid fraud in the United States. How is this real? What are we doing? We're in some sort of twilight zone where everybody just steals everything from everybody. It's unbelievable to me. Okay, we got a whole bunch of hands here. Go ahead, Crow, and then we'll move around.
Did you notice that Jimmy isn't even in this country? He's in Mongolia.
Well, that's pretty good. That's interesting that he doesn't have that bad of an accent for a Mongolian, but whatever.
Yeah, well, apparently he seems to be quite the expert on our governmental system and federal dollars. Hey, Walter, how's the I really like the post you did today, the thread. I've been sharing it with people off X that aren't even on X. How is that going? Well, can you explain that a little bit deeper?
Which one?
About these two?
Yeah, the Minnesota and Ohio connection. Yeah, so if you guys so if you guys haven't seen this thread yet, this is what I was talking about at the open. So the thread itself is the first verifiable link between Minnesota and Ohio. That's why I published it, because I found that there is an audit company. There's a company that runs the financial audits for the federal compliance version of what they're doing, okay? That company is the same company for a Minnesota firm that does daycare and childcare in Minneapolis, and the same firm that does it for Ohio for the SERC, which is the Somalian Education Resource Center, which is the center of the investigation we're running out here, or at least one of the organizations in the investigation we're running out here in Ohio. So that's the link between them. And the interesting thing is that not only are they both done by that firm, they were done 6 days apart, which is just, I don't know. I mean, that may just be coincidence, but at the same time, that doesn't really matter. I mean, it's just crazy that it's like, okay, and they're both doing the same kind of audits, by the way. But this is another thing. I didn't even mention this. The audit, for those who don't know, the SERC, the Somalian Education Resource Center, where do you think it gets its funding from the federal government? Like which department? Anybody want to guess?
USDA.
No. It's from the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, Department of Ag. Let me ask you this, Walter, are you planning to branch out and see how many other states this outfit's actually doing audits for?
Already did. Yeah, that's already happening. So, listen, this is the kind of stuff that we're already expanding out. The investigation is ongoing, guys. I mean, like I said, if you guys have been following any of the threads that we're doing, all of this stuff is just going to keep growing. And now that we've got Somali Scan up and running, showing that we've got, I don't know, $30 million being funneled directly into political campaigns, it's only going to get bigger. We're not stopping. I mean, we're going to just keep going. And if I get a whole list of politicians that are all part of that, I'm going to publish it the day I get it. I mean, I hope they realize that. That's the first thing I'm going to do.
Well, another thing too, that thing that I texted you earlier today, I know it's not in your usual wheelhouse, but man, that really burned me up when I saw that about the AI and how they're doing the price jacking by using those digital tags. You might want to look into something like that. You're going to need a staff pretty soon.
Listen, staff is something that, I assume at some point I'll need. But right now I'm in the process. I've got a whole team flying out here on Monday, by the way, guys. I mean, like the things are getting very interesting very quickly. And it's only been a day. It hasn't even been a full 24 hours in 2026, and I've got a fucking tactical team flying to meet me this week. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Okay, let's keep going around the room here. Go ahead, Jay, and then if anybody else has their hand up. But if you guys want to join the show, go to WC Dispatch on X. You got to go at WC Dispatch, and you can join the show, chime in yourself. Make sure you guys share the link to the show. If you guys have a comment, make sure you guys leave a comment down below, or leave it out in any of the other streams. I do read the comments throughout the show. If you guys want to join the show and chime in, though, the only way to do so is you got to go to WC Dispatch on X, and then you can find the X space that is live, and that's the call-in for the show. Okay, go ahead, Jay.
I didn't have my hand up, Walter. You show my hand up?
Dude, this thing doesn't work for me. Okay, I show a hand up. Okay, like the fucking spaces suck. Okay, like I'm just trying to do this here. So anybody who has their hand up, go ahead and speak. This stuff annoys the hell out of me. I hate it. I'm gonna make you co-host. That way you can see the hands that are up because I can't see anything.
All right, go ahead.
Go ahead. Whoever has their hand up next.
Yes. So Walter, one more thing is I wanted to also speak about your amazing thread that you put out. I wanted to ask you. I don't want to announce the name yet. I know you saw it in the DM about that location. Is that firm connected with that other location also?
Dude, I wish I could tell you that I have read every DM that has been sent to me today, but I promise you I haven't. So
I know you replied, that much I know.
Okay, then I'll have to go double check it because I have probably read 400 emails today, at least. So let me go back and look, and I'll see if I can tell you if that's true or not. Go ahead, anybody else, right, while I'm doing that.
Hey, it's Lazaria. I'll hop in here real quick.
Sure.
I just wanted to say that as a nurse, I was working for a managed care organization as a case manager, and we had a company that we could never get the home health care records from.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like ridiculous. And not to necessarily stereotype, but the head of the place literally sounded like he was from Africa or something like that. And it took like 9 months just to get the home health care records. And then we had to put in an audit on them because all of the time stamps and all of the care that they said that they did for these workers' comp patients was like ridiculous.
Well, I mean, that's not surprising. That's not surprising that you couldn't get the records. There's actually a group of people. I think it was actually Muckraker, the media group Muckraker. They put out something saying that a bunch of the records that they were looking for, that they started getting deleted from the Ohio spending websites. So listen, I am on the full mind that this stuff goes up to the very top. I don't doubt it at all. Okay, I don't doubt it at all that it's in the highest levels of government in these states. And any state that has a large refugee population is probably in on this. Okay, that's really what I think is happening. And it's not going to just be Republicans or Democrats. It's going to be everybody. And at this point, I don't care. If you're stealing from us, you should, one, you should lose your position in whatever you're at. And two, you should go to prison. That's the two ways it should go. Now, I don't even know. The thing is, it's going to be very difficult to say, how do you prove, even if they, even if the politicians did accept the money from them, how do you prove that that's illegal? Did they know that those laws? I mean, they're just seeing campaign donations. Oh, yeah. I mean, you're going to have to find some sort of way to trace it. And here's the real deal to me. I think that what we're going to really find, and the only way we'll be able to prove it out, is that it's going to be in blocks. So, it's going to be, like I said earlier in the open of the show, it's not going to just be one company. Like if this company donates to a political candidate, it's not going to just be he donates to that one. He's going to donate to 20 political candidates. That's what I think it's going to be. And they're all going to be the same companies donating to all of the political candidates. That's what I think we'll find. Now, I haven't proven it out yet, but that's what I think we're eventually going to find here. But we'll find out soon enough. What's up, Jim?
Hey, Walter. Happy New Year, man. I think that this is an awesome topic. And I guess the question that rings in my mind with all that you and Data Republican and Doge and Big Balls and all you guys are doing amazing work uncovering this stuff. And the Nick Shirley thing has just been explosive. Do you think, I find it odd that this was being protected and that the FBI didn't come up with any of this. And do you believe that there is interference? Where do the tentacles of this cross with law enforcement? And how were politicians able to actually trick them all and protect it? And that's the part that I'm hung up on. And I don't get it, because it's I've seen on X people saying, oh, why didn't the legacy media find this? It took a 23-year-old with a YouTube camera. And I'm sitting here saying, how the hell did law enforcement, the FBI, not connect any of these dots? Because the FBI made arrests on these Somali centers in 2022.
So I can answer that, Jim. So
yeah,
here's the deal, okay? This is the theory that I have floated that, this is entirely based on speculation, so take it for what you will. Tim Walz was running for vice president. Tim Walz was in Minnesota. Tim Walz is also sitting around with all this fraud there. Well, how do they make Tim Walz look good for the presidential election? They prosecute a bunch of people in his state. Okay, so you've got a bunch of people in that state they were intentionally looking the other way on. Well, now they need to make Tim Walz look good, so they prosecute a bunch of people. They got 90-something indictments, guys, but they clearly didn't do everything, because all you had to do was just show up at these places and there's nobody there. That's the deal. So that they're not actually doing a full investigation, but what they did is they tried to make Tim Walz look good. So they prosecuted some people, but they didn't prosecute anything. It was an intentional job. Now, you got to talk about the FBI, of it being corrupted. This is Garland's FBI. Okay, this is Garland's corrupt FBI that was more interested in arresting January 6ers that were there for 8 seconds and, were standing on their cell phones wandering around the outside of the Capitol. They were more interested in arresting those people than they were terrorists. So I'm not surprised at all that they missed the fraud. They were told not to look for it. They were told to go look for people in MAGA hats. That's what they were doing. They were arresting, doing full counterintelligence operations on Catholic mothers and freaking, masses. Okay, so that's why they missed it, because they were doing other things. They were being directed to do other things, and they probably didn't miss it. In fact, if you go back and look, there's another incident of some of this fraud that was caught in Minnesota many years ago. And not only was it caught, but the FBI, the chief investigator on it was like, well, the big problem was that they started doing large amounts of transactions. And when you start doing really large transactions, people catch on to the fraud. So they know this stuff. They know it's there. Okay, they know it's these companies, by the way, if you go look at specifically this one in Ohio, okay? There's one in Ohio that I'm looking at. It went from making in 2015 and 2016, it was a couple $100,000. And then in 2019, it was $300,000. And then in 2020, it went up a little bit more. And then when it to 2021, it went to $4 million, almost immediately. And then the next year it was $6 million. And the next year was $7 million. And then this year it was $14 million. Okay, so these things are being intentionally, there's no way people would miss it. Okay, it's just they weren't prosecuting it. They weren't prosecuting it, and you got to think about why. Why weren't they prosecuting it? Well, if it's going back to the politicians themselves, Jim, you know why they're not prosecuting it. You know why they're being told not to look for it. So that's the answer.
But then the sheer volume of people that are complicit is just ginormous.
Oh,
I
yes.
mean, because
Yes.
you're talking inspector generals, you're talking from the federal government down to the state level. It beggars the mind when you begin to think of the number of people that have to like literally
Yes.
throw a blind eye at this and say, yeah, they're committing fraud on a grand scale, but I don't care because it's helping my political party. Wow.
I mean, Jim, listen to me. Now you're getting to the point where I've been all day. All right. Like I've been sitting here like everything's fake. Everybody is lying. The whole government is destroyed. You know, this is where you go when you start thinking about the scale of this thing. It's like entire state governments that are in on this. Like, holy shit. I mean, just what the hell does this mean? Like, does that mean the entire federal apparatus is just completely wasted and has just been completely consumed by this stuff? I mean, that's really where it starts to head. If there's so much of it that no one has even looked at, it's kind of like daunting. I mean, it really is pretty daunting. And you wonder how much money is involved in this. But I mean, there's a pretty good way to find out how much money is involved in this. Just think about it for a minute. Why, think about when Doge started up, okay? Elon Musk was in Doge and he was tearing the government apart and looking at fraud. What happened to that, okay? How much money did they spend trying to destroy Elon Musk, okay? There was protests, fake protests outside of every Tesla dealership in the entire country for months. Every single day. They were firebombing Teslas in the streets. I mean, it's not like people just randomly woke up one day and decided they hate Elon Musk because he was looking at federal government spending. That's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. The reality is that he poked the system. The system is this massive NGO network that operates and funds LLCs across the country, and it is a grift that runs everything. And when you start messing with it, the billions of dollars that are involved in that get really angry. I mean, that's what happened. It's very clear now, and anybody that's paying attention to this is a huge scale operation. It is far bigger than people realize it is, and that's why we're starting to look at it, and everyone's going, oh my God, it's everywhere. But now they can't stop it. That's the other problem. They can't stop the investigations into it because I find it very interesting that we started the year ripping through the Doge stuff. Like that's what we began the year at. Everyone was like, oh my God, everyone's tearing through every government contract. And then that fizzled out because they got mad and, they managed to pressure Elon out of his position. It kind of like fizzled out for a while. And then all of the private investigators and all the independent journalists started doing stuff. And now there ain't no stopping it because a bunch of people out here like me and, all of these other people, Nick Shirley and all these other people, Nick Sorter, all these guys, they're ripping through this and we're not stopping. So, you may be able to pressure every single person, maybe be able to pressure Elon, but you can't stop 10,000 people. I mean, that's the level of journalists that are going to be doing this stuff.
Does this become a race between like the independent journalists like you and Nick and all of them versus like if the FBI doesn't do something, don't they look increasingly foolish?
Yes.
That they're not doing anything and you guys are basically beating them to all of these outrageous, ridiculous, blatant crimes?
Well, yeah, it looks terrible for them, and that's kind of the point. That's why I want to keep doing it. I hate the FBI. I think they're a useless, stupid organization that should have been torn down 60 years ago, but that's just me. I mean, that's to me, I don't care. These organizations, the FBI, all of these stuff, they clearly don't do anything, okay? They clearly suck at their jobs, okay? Even if I love Dan Bongino, I think he's a great guy. I'm sure he really worked hard to try and do stuff in the FBI, but there is 10,000 other people in that organization that should have been fired day one. Out of the damn place. Go away. Get the hell out. You've been violating Americans' constitutional rights for years, and nothing happens to these people. In fact, you get promoted. You get freaking promotions if you violate the constitutional rights of Americans in the FBI. That's the kind of stuff that just needs to go away. I mean, if it was up to me, I would say abolish the entire FBI completely and actually start a new agency that is designed to prosecute the Department of Justice. That, I think, would solve the problem. That's what I would do. If I was in charge, I would start a new federal judicial branch within the administration, within the executive branch to prosecute and examine things, not just like an OID where they just go in and read reports. Now, these people need arrest capability. That's what they should have. You should create a new agency that is designed to be able to prosecute these people. And that way we've got at least one administration's worth of people that are in those positions and make them impossible to fire. Make them make them every single one is an SES employee or something like that. Like make them every single one of them an SES employee so you can't fire them like they did with all the other people. That would be an effective way of managing this. That's what I think that's the only way of managing it, to be honest with you. I don't know how else you do with it. Because if you have the Department of Justice that has a bunch of AUSAs that are all in on this stuff, that are refusing to actually prosecute crimes, and then you have a bunch of FBI agents that are also either incompetent or in on it, then what do? I think the only way you fix it is you go after all of them. You actually have to start some secondary organization that is designed to prosecute the people that are refusing to prosecute. And that's the only way you're going to get accountability for it. I mean, there has to be something done. So, by the way, guys, I want to welcome. By the way, guys, I want to make sure I welcome Chris Marino to the show. He just joined on the live version of it. What's up, Chris? How are you?
Hey, man. I'm good. I'm glad I got my camera working. I had a little bit of tech issue.
Well, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. I got a bunch of hands real quick here, so I want to run through some hands. Go ahead, Tommy Casanova.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everybody. I just wanted to pop in real quick. The conversation, right? This is like my blood is boiling over this because I have basically been banned across social media for years. My account's constantly suspended for trying to show the same fraud. Even posting like executive salaries of nonprofit NGOs will get you banned, which recently happened to me on Facebook for like in Arizona Department of Housing, how they award grant monies to basically land barons to basically build apartment complexes, and then they fill them full of illegals. And that's what we're seeing. This is engineered all the way at the top by the Uniparty. This isn't actually fraud. Now they'll make arrests as scapegoats, but this is engineered because what do you think happened to the 10 million illegals that came in since 2020 under the Biden administration, in which like Catholic charities were being given tens of millions of dollars to traffic all these illegals in a short period of time in all the swing states, right? And then they have to backdoor this Trojan horse, with all these illegals through the welfare state. This is actually the core problem. And like Walter, that idea about starting over the FBI, I think the FBI has some marginal like interstate things that it does, but I agree. I think because my thing is most people don't understand this, but looking at the donation records from public agencies in the federal workforce is a really clear indicator of the ideological.
Yeah,
capture,
I mean,
right?
and that's the problem, right? I mean, they're all part of this, the same thing. This is all the same issue. It's all the same issue, Tommy. So, and I'm going to go into some other hands here. I'm going to go to some other. Listen to me. You're right that it's engineered from the very top levels of government in multiple different states, and that's what we're talking about. I mean, that's what we're talking about here, because the amount of money that's involved is too high for it to just be, some clowns from fucking Somalia. All right, that's not happening. All right, the Somalis that can barely take tape off of doors are not doing this. Okay, they are easily being set up. And because they're just doing whatever someone tells them, okay? Someone said, hey, this is how you make money in the United States. You set up a daycare. Like, I mean, seriously. I mean, like, that's how dumb this is, okay? And you watch these videos of these people. I love Nick Sorter's video of it. He was just like, I've got 10 Somalis out here. They're trying to figure out how to change the letter on their door. I mean, they can't do it, okay? These people are not sophisticated enough to be able to come up with a multi-tiered, multi-billion-dollar fraud scheme that operates in interstate with auditors and everything else and all working with the regulators. That's not happening, all right? It is obviously being engineered by other people. That is very, very clearly the case. Okay, Jay, you got your hand up. You can chime in whenever, dude.
Yeah, that's because of inbreeding, Walter. And the other thing, you mentioned the FBI. I always wondered when, say, they would send in a quote-unquote federal monitor to, say, a police department that was alleged to be corrupt. Who's monitoring the federal monitor?
Yes.
Why? Right. I always had, who says they're on the level? And the thing you said is interesting, to form some agency, a separate agency. Maybe we appoint people into that agency be like they do with judges. The only way you get fired is to be impeached. And as long as you are serving in quote unquote good behavior, you can't be touched. Is that what we need, or is that a risk?
It'll be a horrible risk, but here's my theory on it. Like, if we did it now, we might be able to get away with it for at least, we'd have enough that we would clean stuff up for a short period of time. If we put good people in there right now, we could clean things up for at least a short period of time. Now, in 50 years or 20 years or whatever it is, after the Democrats have come in and done it again, we'll have to create an agency to destroy that agency. I mean, it's going to be an endless cycle of this at this point until there's some sort of major accountability at some level of this, like where if you are part of this, you just go to prison. Which, if we're not going to get accountability from the current apparatus, then you need to fix some of it. You either need to get rid of the apparatus or change something or add something else to it. That's the only way you can do it. And if, as far as I can tell, we've got judges, like we said, we've talked about this on the show already, okay? We have judges in Minnesota that are overturning unanimous jury verdicts. That's happening. I mean, there was a unanimous jury verdict for $7 million in taxpayer funding being frauded out, right? And the judge just said, nope, I don't care. Like, what? I mean, just that sort of accountability, there has to be something done about that sort of stuff. Like, you can't just allow judges to overturn the actual jury verdict. I mean, that doesn't ever happen. I mean, I think that when does that even happen on a regular basis? Like, that usually happens in some sort of very, very rare scenario and whatnot. Like, just, oh, nope, $7 million worth of fraud. We don't care. Like that. No. Okay. Like that sort of stuff is just ridiculous. That cannot happen. So there's got to be some way we can fix this. And like I said, I think the only way you can really do it is you got to create a new group of people that are designed to go after the people that are not doing anything. I don't know how else to do it.
Right now you have people that will be very hungry to get into that agency. That's for sure.
Yeah. Hire us. We'll be nice, we swear.
It's even
Go ahead,
worse. So in that scenario you're referencing, the judge throws out the unanimous jury decision, right? The reason for the throwing it out was that the judge cited that she believed it was the individual's brother who did everything. However, in the neighboring courtroom, another judge throws out a unanimous verdict on the brother. So I mean, the reality is like there's no way they can pivot and say this is why I did it, because this other judge who clearly is a friend of hers throws out the verdict at the same time for the brother. And so this is how crazy the fraud is in Minnesota. There's so many people entrenched in it. It's unbelievable. I mean, when I saw that five of the daycares today, Nick Shirley had on, it was online, that 5 of those daycares actually received like sizable millions of dollars in the they were meal sites for feeding our future. So that right there alone puts those two together in the web of conspiracy, right? And so there is no debate that these individuals knew each other. There is no debate that fraud 1, feeding our future, and fraud 2, Somali daycare scams are coordinated at that point, because they're literally taking money from each other.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the point, right? I mean, like, I love that, like, the one that I'm looking at in Ohio, like this Somalian Education Resource Center, like, it's getting its funding from the Department of Agriculture, so I assume it's probably part of the exact same thing, right? I mean, it's supposed to be feeding people, but why exactly is daycares your primary business if your intention is to feed people? Like, why aren't you opening soup kitchens? Like, I don't understand. What are we doing here? Like, a daycare is somehow going to feed 600 people? Like, I just don't understand. I mean, which is, again, how I think that none of this has anything to do with the people that are running this. So they don't have a clue. They don't have any idea what's going on. Someone's just telling them what to do. Here, you do this, and then we'll send you money. That's what's happening. I mean, they're just sending them boatloads of cash, and then they're pumping it through that. And I've already found campaign donations directly from daycares. Okay, and it's always in the same amount. It's the max donation from LLC, which is $2,000. I mean, that's what every single one of them is like that. So, and by the way, they also donate. A lot of them donate to Somalian candidates. So, there you go. Okay, we got hands up here. Go ahead, whoever's next, Jay. I can't tell.
Patriot.
Earth to Patriot.
Hey, you hear me?
Go ahead. On? You're good.
Yes.
Then also on the thing, I just sent you the name of the daycare, and the red flag that I noticed about it is that it's a 25% acceptance rate, and all of a sudden it seems like a lot of the daycares in that area are right away now all saying on it after hours daycare 3 to 6 p.m. So it could be that's the normal thing.
Yeah, well, the 3 to 6 p.m. stuff, the 3 to 6 p.m. stuff is such nonsense, okay? Anybody that has children knows that daycare is 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Like, that's when you have daycare, okay? Like, that's when almost every daycare in the country operates. You know, I love it. I was talking to somebody earlier today. They were saying that we've got some of these daycares that are open till midnight. Like, what? What, midnight? Like, what, you picking your kid up? Like, all right, son, I'll see you tomorrow. Like, what the hell? Like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, just like, This is the dumbest thing ever. But again, here's not my real theory on this. This is the way I really think it's working. I think what they do is that they actually have each one of the daycares opens at a specific time. Okay, so you've got ones that open at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 throughout the day, right? And they have one group of people, right? My theory is that what they do is the one van of kids drives around and goes to each one of those daycares and signs them in. That's what I think's happening. So I think they go in, so you're here at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then when they get to the end, then they go reverse the process to sign them all back out again. So you start back where you started, and then you sign them out, and then the next one, doop, 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 and I think they do that all across the city. That's what I think they do.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's the way it works.
That's actually a really good point, Walter. That could be the case.
Well, I mean, it's based on something, Chris. So before you continue, I'll tell you why it's based on that, because we already have video in Minnesota of groups that show up, and they show up with the daycare of the kids, and then they sign them in, and then they leave. Okay, where are they going? Well, they're going to the next daycare to sign in. That's where they're going. And we also had a 2015 report that shows that there was already one of these schemes that was busted back in 2015 where they were showing up, and that's where they were getting their kickbacks. So they would show up and they would hand them an envelope, and there's their kickback for doing it. So go ahead.
No, you're right. However, one thing that to point out on this, because there is after hours daycares for people who work in the evenings, right? And so this is the case in some of the urban areas, especially. However, from my understanding, Minnesota law, and to qualify for any of these grants and any of this money, you have to be open from 6 a.m. to at least to 11 p.m. That's the window to be qualified for these grants. So these people that are saying that they only open at 3, but they're not available in the mornings, would not actually qualify for the money. So that's the crazy thing about this whole thing. No matter how they try to box out of it, no matter what talking point they've tried to use, in writing, in law, you're not supposed to do that. And so so then when you have the state officials who are speaking and they're saying, oh, this right-wing blogger, YouTube character shows up, and we already knew these violations and blah, blah. Well, okay, if you knew those violations, then why didn't you know that they weren't open in the morning, so therefore they didn't qualify for the millions of dollars they received?
Yeah, I mean, this is the deal, right? I mean, there's every level of these things is fake. Like, I mean, my favorite was the Quality Learning Center, which they've now fixed their sign, and now it is the Quality Learning Center, but they just put a shitty patch over top of it. My favorite was the open flag. Have you guys seen that? They added an open flag. It's the most ridiculous. Like, hold on, I'll just put it up on the screen for everybody to see this. Like, let me pull this up here just so you can see how ridiculous this is. And it really is just astonishingly stupid. Like, the open flag, it's a nice touch, I think. I mean, it's ridiculous, but let me just pull this up. So the Quality Learning Center has an open flag out front now, so you know that they're actually open again, because they were not functioning before. Even on Google, it shows permanently closed. But it's just amazing. Like, it's just so fake and so stupid. Let me see if I can find this photo. I know someone that shared it yesterday. Let me see if I can find this real quick, because it's just great. Oh man, where is this? Damn it. I'll find it here in a minute. But the point is that it's so everything that they do makes it worse. Like, everything that they do makes it worse. No part of this gets better at any point. It's so amazing to me. Okay, where is this thing at? Oh, and there was another one. Did you guys see this? I forgot to bring this up. Did you guys see this guy who came out of here and said that someone broke into their daycare to steal their employee records?
Yeah,
Here.
Walter, there's a ring going around. There's a ring going around of people who are breaking in just for employee records and.
When I break into
financial
places, I
records.
exclusively look for pay stubs. That's what I'm there for.
Yeah, and
what?
they're apparently carrying garage door pulls shaped as nooses and saying this is MAGA country.
Oh, now that I believe.
they're-
And they got Subway sandwiches too,
and they're
right?
breaking in from the inside.
That's right.
Well,
Well, and
you're
they also
talking
have
about the
Subway
kid that
sandwiches.
Yeah, at 2 a.m. Are you talking about the retarded Stephen Urkel kid that came out and made a press conference?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, by the way, that guy, I don't know if you guys saw this. The glasses he's wearing are $2,600. Like, the frames that he's wearing are $2,600 frames. But here's
Your
the
insurance covers that, Walter. You can get that too with your insurance. Don't worry.
I mean, with with your
why-
insurance, you mean, like, it's your money, dude. Like, it's our money that they're spending. So of course it's not very expensive when they don't have to pay for it. All right, here, hold on. So here's the open flag for those who are watching here. So this is the open flag. You see this here? Like, yeah, now open, the big now open. Like, what the hell like people really think that this is just some sort of like, I mean, everything they do makes it worse. Everything. And this is why you know that they're not doing it by themselves. Like, and they couldn't actually fix the letters. They couldn't get the stickers off the door. So what they did is they put just pieces of paper that they printed it out and put that up in the top of the door. Like, it's so comically retarded. Like every bit of this whole thing is just so ridiculously stupid that it beggars belief. I mean, it just amazing stuff here. Anyway, so I just wanted everyone to see that. So whoever was just speaking, I think that was Henry. What's happening, Henry?
Hey, what's going on, man? No, the thing, Walt, a couple quick points, real quick. The you know why he said that, right? Like why that kid came out and said what he did. And again, why is there the kid? He looks like he's 21 years old and he's managing all these things. He's saying that about the records, so they have a plausible excuse for why they don't have them available. Because why would they have them available?
Because that's so plausible. Often people break in for your financial records for your business. That's the first thing people look for. You know, when I go into a business that I've broken into, I only look for the paperwork stack in the boss's filing room. Like, it's so stupid.
And don't forget the list of kids, the sign in and sign out sheet. They took the
Oh,
sign in.
that's right. Yeah, that's too. That's the most important. You know, that's the first thing you look for. You break in the door. You know, you don't look for cash. You don't look for valuables, computers. Like, no. The sign-in sheet and the pay stubs. That's it. That's what I'm looking for. I mean, just amazing.
What they have to convince is the media and the goofy. You know, they just have to create some kind of a narrative, and it's like, you know, the goofy libs are going to go for it. You know, whatever. So it nobody. You know, it doesn't matter. Hey, let me ask you a question. This seems to be, and again, I don't know if this is like the exclusive version of fraud that's happening within, you know, the Democrats and the Somalis and so forth, and of course some willing Republicans. But the question I have for you is, do you feel like there's other immigrant groups that have kind of like cornered the market on other kinds of fraud?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
100%. In fact, Henry. So the interesting thing about Shirley's video, okay, Shirley's video goes uber viral, and now everyone's looking at the Somali daycare stuff. I was in the middle of looking at completely separate fraud stuff here in Ohio. I'm specifically focused on the SNAP fraud because I know it's happening. I already have evidence of the SNAP fraud happening here. And it's happening on a wide scale from the Haitian community. So, like, I already know that's happening, and that's what I was looking at. And then this stuff blows up, and I'm like, well, I guess I got to look at the Somalis too. And as soon as I look at that, it's even worse. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, just it's everywhere, dude. It's every single facet of everything is apparently fraudulent. It's all fake. It's all fake and gay. It's just amazing.
Yeah, fake and gay for sure. Do you feel like Trump or Cash or anybody significant is going to do anything significant?
They have to.
Or do we feel like this is going to at least score points in the midterms and be like a boost in that regard?
Well, I'll tell you right now. One, the Trump administration is aware of how viral and ridiculous this has gotten because now they're doing stuff like saying they're going to cut all federal food spending programs immediately to all states. You know, that's the kind of noises they're making. So they're doing stuff. I mean, they are. The problem I have with it is I don't care if you do stuff. Prosecute people. That's what needs to happen.
Right, exactly.
Jail, prison, lots of prison time. There's so many people that need to go to jail. Like, there's so many people that need to go to prison. Like, the number continues to expound every time someone comes up with something else. There's like 20 new people that need to go to prison, and I think we're in the hundreds at this point. Hundreds of people in the government need to go to prison. I mean, I have no idea how many people it needs to be, but I assume now it's half of Congress. I mean, like, I don't know. It just keeps getting worse.
Fair point. Or they have to be brought through the ringer at least. And one of the things, Walt, that I've been thinking about this, they really have, and this is kind of what I think we were all hoping for with Cash and Bongino and all these different people, was that we would see some kind of a cadence, right, that would lead to just general overall well-being, safety, and everything, and efficiency and everything, with oscillating between just prosecuting whatever they're going after on a normal basis, but then also kind of having a cadence that includes having some of these like high-profile people just for the sake of doing, not because it's necessarily high priority like compared to whatever else they're working on, but just to kind of give that reassurance to the public, but also send the message like, hey, this stuff isn't going to be just, you know, we're not just letting this fly anymore. You know what I mean? And we haven't seen much of either in terms of the messaging around it. Like even when those guys came out the other day and they said they were shutting it down, dude, that was worse than when Pelosi and what's his name came out in front of the camera. They looked like we just suck at messaging, dude. We have like no charisma except for Trump.
No, listen.
Listen.
The problem is not everybody sucks at messaging. It is that Pam Bondi sucks. That's the problem. Pam Bondi sucks. Fire fucking Pam. She is terrible. This woman sucks. I don't care if anybody's like, I don't care if there's a bunch of people say, oh, she's doing a great job. Bullshit. And the reason she's doing such a bad job has nothing to do with her being a good attorney. Okay. She might be a great attorney. She might be doing cool things as an attorney. She may be doing all sorts of stuff. Maybe there's a whole bunch of stuff that's happened behind the scenes that we don't know about that she's doing a great job at. Maybe. Irrelevant. You're still the attorney general, and your messaging is that of a 4-year-old. You suck. You're terrible at it, okay? And I've described this a million times on this show and everybody else. And the problem is that the rest of the administration has great messaging. You've got good people in these messaging positions. You've got RFK. You've got, he has his people. Even though they look like weird every time HHS comes out has a statement, they're like these creepy videos of two dudes standing there like holding papers. Like they look terrible, but the messaging is still good. Like it's still a solid message that's delivered as a result of that. You've got the rest of these people are doing good. The messaging sounds great, and you've got Pam Bondi that is drowning in the floaty end of the pool. Like, I mean, she just every time she speaks, it is worse. I mean, the other day when she came out and she's like, "Buckle up, politicians!" Like, oh shit, someone take her phone. Oh no, stop. I mean, it's terrible. Yeah, it is awful. It is so bad that it makes everything worse, because every time she speaks, she makes the expectations extremely high and then fails entirely to deliver. So the problem is, you should be setting low expectations and then over delivering. And she consistently, the entire time she's been in office, has done precisely the opposite. She has set extremely high expectations and then completely under delivered on all of it. I mean, that's the problem.
Judge Jeanine would be in her role, dude. I wish Judge Jeanine or somebody with a spine. And Cash, are you comfortable at all with Cash?
Listen, I don't know. Everyone talked about Cash before he got in there as if he was some sort of great guy and everything. I don't know anything about Cash. And to be honest with you, the one thing I agree with, there's a number of people that have said this already, but I agree with this sentiment. The concept that we need to protect the FBI and the good people at the FBI. Fuck that. Are you kidding me? Screw these people. Fire them all. That you shouldn't be protecting the people that have been violating Americans' constitutional rights, okay? Like, no, you shouldn't be doing that. They should all be fired. In fact, they should go to prison. Like, at a bare minimum, fire them if you can't get them in prison. But like, if you're violating Americans' constitutional rights, I don't want you to be protected, okay? I don't want you to be getting promotions or moving around in agencies and, doing all this crap. Fuck that. No. I don't like that at all. I've never liked that. And I don't care if it is Cash and Dan, my two people that are supposed to be great. I like Dan Bongino a lot. I like these people, but that doesn't mean I like the agency. Okay. I don't have to agree with all of it, and I don't have to like any of it. So, to me, no, I'm not a fan of what Cash has been doing at the FBI. I think that he should have been going in there with a blowtorch and ripping it to pieces. And instead it's been this, well, we're going to slowly move through it. And, we're going to protect the good cops at the FBI. Fuck that. I don't care if there's good people at the FBI. Okay, the whole agency is a shit agency that is terrible and should be tearing down from the bottom up. That's what should happen. He should have done what he said he was going to do in the podcast and stuff. Was like turn the Hoover Museum into the museum to the deep state. That would have been cool, but you didn't do that. Okay, and in fact, you pretty much did the opposite the whole time you've been in there. So whether or not, but here's the problem with that: Cash works for Pam. Okay, he works for Pam. He works for the Attorney General. She tells him what to do. And again, my problem is fire her. Good Lord, get her out. She is the worst. She is not good for this position. I don't care if anybody thinks she's done. She's winning court cases.
Why do you think Trump always speaks so bizarrely highly?
Trump is insanely loyal to his people. Okay, Trump's not going to speak badly about his own administration. That's not going to happen. All right, you can see through the lines of what Trump does with his administration. I mean, he has posted multiple times memes and funny things like, arrest somebody. Like, just Chris Farley standing over top of her, like yelling at her, telling her to arrest somebody. Like, listen, Trump wants stuff done. But at the same time, he's not going to come out and consistently and publicly attack his administration. He's not going to do that. All right, like he's going to defend his people, especially if it's from the media. Like if the media come at him, he's going to defend them. Like these are his people and his administration. He's going to defend them no matter what, because Trump's like that. He's always been like that. And if he doesn't like them, he'll fire them. Now, again, I think that Pam Bondi's not going to stick around for the whole administration anyway. And the problem is, who do we replace her with? Because we can't seem to get anybody through the freaking Senate. I mean, they still can't confirm half of his appointees. They are slow walking this whole thing. And until we get rid of the blue slip and nuke the filibuster and do all this stuff, which I don't even know how we do all that with the useless rhinos that we have in charge. So, we have a lot of problems, guys. So.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do, is run the clock out. That's what I've been telling people. I mean, I like Pam. I think that she can turn it around, right? I think that Walter could be saying Pam did a great job after she actually fucking does the work that's necessary now.
Yeah.
I really think that's possible. Like, she has an opportunity now, and we're running out of time, but that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to run out the clock. But I wanted to run an idea by you. So I think Trump should do an executive order and create the Federal Anti-Fraud Office, which is FAFO. And I think that under his authority, he could do that. And, you know, wouldn't be any problem. He can consolidate an entirely new team for just that, for the fraud.
I like that. But, you know, the deal is, I liked what Doge was doing, but they managed to stop Doge. You know, I think Doge should be given prosecutable like authority. That's what I think should happen. I think we should just make Doge a prosecuting agency, and if you prove financial crimes, then you go to prison in the Doge prison.
We need Congress. I think they need. I know that people don't want us to do it with the filibuster. We need to get the Republicans on this, get rid of this, scrap the filibuster, whatever this is not, and they can. Even if we can get 50 votes, we can create a new administrative Article 1 court in Congress lawfully, and we can have a separate court. We can have a whole new court with
these are fantasies based on the fact that we have a rhino useless court that doesn't do anything. Okay, like I mean, I'm sorry, not court, Congress. Okay, we the rhinos in the Senate. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Some of the stuff that I came out with here. There was a new appropriations thing that was just pushed through, or they were trying to push it through. And they wanted to give, you know, a $5 billion to resettlement for immigrants. What? No, zero.
What happened? By the way, Nick, what happened with that? Because I saw that you know circulating the last couple of days. There was two different things.
It hasn't left committee yet. It hasn't finished yet. Okay. So it's still in there. But if that's something that tries to get pushed forward, they should nuke that, because, and my comment was, if they push it forward, the Republicans will lose for 20 years. That's what I said would happen, because the Republicans are stupid. They are stupid. The Senate is one of the biggest problems we have. That's what I really think we have here. Like, the House has kind of been whipped into shape. The House has been whipped into shape. They kind of, you know, speak badly or good of Mike Johnson. He's doing the best he can with what he has. As far as I can tell, Mike Johnson's done. I give him like a C+ in terms of how I rate him for this year. The entire administration overall, I gave them a B. But in terms of the Senate, I would give them an F fucking minus. These people suck. I hate Thune. I hate the entire Senate. I think the Senate is full of useless, fossilic rhinos that need to go home. Okay, the geriatrics that exist in the Senate all need to just either die or go home. Like, they are all so old, wheeling around the Senate. You know, Mitch McConnell is being carried around. Like, he's literally got somebody gimping him through the Senate. And every time someone talks to him and he lets go of his handler, he falls to the ground. Okay, what are we doing? Get these people out of Congress. These people do not need to be there. If you cannot speak and walk or do anything, you shouldn't be in Congress. You don't want you to die on the floor like Dianne Feinstein did. Chuck Grassley is 1,000 years old. I mean, the guy is 93. I like Chuck Grassley. I think he's done an okay job, but he's 93. Go home. I mean, just this is the problem we have. We've got a bunch of fossils that exist in the Senate, and they don't want to change anything, and they think they're in charge, and they think they're important. They're not. Okay, they're not important, and they wouldn't even be there in the first place if it wasn't for Trump anyway. So that's,
well, Walter,
go ahead.
The biggest data point that I've ever seen in my life, and I never thought this would happen because I was always so against the anti, like, don't pay your taxes stuff. The number is that serious now. Trust me. If all of the people that are claiming that they don't want to pay taxes ended up not paying taxes, it would rock the system.
Well, listen, and here's
an enormous number.
Guys. So this is actually something they need to be concerned about, because the sentiment of not paying taxes is growing rapidly. And let me tell you, if there's one thing that may unite the whole country, it would be, I don't want to pay taxes. Okay, like, does anybody enjoy paying taxes at all? No one likes that. So let me tell you, if the country starts to believe that all of their money is being defrauded from them every time they pay taxes, and a significant portion of the country doesn't pay taxes next year, and here's the problem with that, okay? The problem with that is they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know until a significant period of time had passed, because a whole bunch of people may not file on time anyway. So a bunch of people may not file on time, but if they don't, like, if 10 million people didn't file next year, what the hell are they going to do? Like, I mean, you can't prosecute 10 million people. Like, I mean, there's no way it would work. So they're in real trouble if they don't get a handle on this, because if the country starts to revolt against taxes, I don't know what happens. Like, I mean, I don't know how you fix that problem. If Joe Bob and all of his millions of friends stop paying taxes, I don't know what the government does.
Walter, you have a couple of hands up if you want to go. You have Crowan and Betty.
Yeah, let's go with Betty.
Thank you, Kurt. and Jay. Two things I wanted to throw out. And look, I'm not in the 90s, but I'm in the early 80s. So don't be talking too rudely about us. At any
But you're
rate,
not in Congress, Betty. That's the difference.
no, and I wouldn't be. Good Lord above, they all need to leave. We're just in a mess in North Carolina. Poor Margot and all these other folks who are fighting. And it's our stupid Republicans. Legislature hadn't even passed a budget. There's no excuse in that. But I need to ask Margot why they haven't. But the two things I wanted to throw out to you. First of all, who in the administration, and I figure it had to be out of DC, made the decision to forgive Somalia of its debt to us. All that just came out in the last day or two, I believe. Did you see that?
No,
That
I hadn't even seen that yet. That's why am I not
Okay.
surprised? Well, I'm not even surprised. I don't like. Apparently, if Somali they just get to, we pay them to rob us and then forgive their debt. So I'm not even
Right,
shocked. Like,
right. Well, that's what I was thinking. And they're just, well, but we were sending money, or they are sending money to El Shabaab. Is that how you pronounce the militant group over there?
yeah, Al Durka, something like that. You're good.
Yeah, and it's just mind-boggling to me. And the fact that it's been going on for years and years is even worse. And you're finding it in Ohio, and the little lady that got on and pled for them to come to Maine. Maine, my husband, who was from a little small county in North Carolina, had an aunt, or aunt is the way we say it here, but it sounds a little bit more to say aunt, who married a gentleman from Maine, and they lived in Lewiston, Maine. And this is where they've got a whole large slew of, I think it's Somalians or Haitians, but I believe it's Somalia. Lewiston, Maine is not a large city. I think it's maybe a town. I don't know. I never have gone up that far. But the other thing I wanted to throw out, okay, it was about forgiving the debt, and the other was, oh God, our brain cells.
That's okay. Well, the
Short-term memory here.
Well,
Wait
you
a
mentioned
minute, wait a minute.
Well, you mentioned something that's interesting. So Lewiston, Maine, you said a large immigrant population was dropped in there.
Right.
That's pretty common. Like I said, for those who don't know, I live in Springfield, Ohio, where they dropped 30,000 Haitians in a town of 60,000 people. So,
Oh yeah. Where they were eating.
Yeah, well, that's
dogs,
right. Everyone knows it
eating
from
the
eating
cats.
the dogs and cats. The viral thing that everyone remembers, which annoys me endlessly, because the thing that should have gone viral was the school bus that the immigrant, like the illegal Haitian immigrant, ran off the road and killed a kid. That's what everyone should have known about, but no one heard about that story. The only thing that went viral about Springfield was the dogs and the cats. But whatever, that's okay. Continue though.
That plus the fact that the landowners or apartment owners there were making bunches of money.
Oh yeah.
Because they were renting to the illegals, or the ones who really actually came legally, as far as your state was concerned, because they allowed them in under some program they have. But the other thing about Minnesota, if I think about it, I'll write about it down below, because right now I can't think what it was I wanted to say, except that it just is mind-boggling. Today, the first day, the governor, they announced that, and is it just Somalians who get 20 weeks off of work but get paid for not going to work? I mean, to taking time off from work if they need to. I don't even think it says that they need to for medical reasons. For 20 weeks, they are paid. Now, did you see that today? You've been busy writing, though. Maybe you
No,
haven't had time
I've
to
been
read.
busy writing. I haven't been able to look at this, but every time I hear something like this, I'm like, oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Well, why wouldn't it be? We forgive them debt. We let them stay here. We pay for their houses. We give them cars. Listen to me. I'm not surprised by a lot of this stuff, because, like I said, I'm very. Before I even started doing any of this, I was looking at the Haitian communities, and I know how much the Haitian communities get. Okay, so the Haitian communities that they brought to Springfield, I know that they were getting $1,400 a month in cash. Okay, they were getting EBT cards, they were getting their apartments paid for, and they were giving them cell phones. So I knew all that was happening already. So I am not shocked that the Somalis get 20 weeks off and don't pay taxes and don't do anything. Like, I assume they just come bring them here. And again, I'll say this for the, I don't know, 100th time here. The reality is that the Democrat Party was a criminal enterprise underneath the Biden administration designed to import voters from the third world and then pay them to vote for Democrats. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. That's what it was designed for. That's what it was doing. That's why everything is happening the way it was. That's why the border was so open. And now we also know that they were also creating these LLCs that were running underneath these NGOs that were then funneling the money right back into the political campaigns of the Democrats. So it's a twofer. They get the voters and they get the money to fund the campaigns. It's, like I said, it's a criminal enterprise, people. That's the only way I can really describe it.
And Walter,
Well, I'm glad you're involved in the research, and you and Data Republican. I want to say this to you, though. As mad as I get at night listening to all of this, I know how incensed you are. Hopefully, you can wind down when you get through with your program and go in there and pick up your new little baby and rock her if she's waked up, and just be all gentle, and just that takes all the anger and stress out of your body.
See, the show itself is where I get my stress out. So I get to come on here and yell about everything. I'm like, and I get the stress builds until I have a show, and then I scream for 2 hours, and then I'm ready to go. So like, this is the stress relief is the show. So that's the part of it. All right, Chris, you were trying to get in here.
Well, you wind us up, though, so now I'm stressed. But anyway, I'm glad you're back. And because I have really been, that I go to other spaces, but they're boring and it's not what I want to hear about it. So thank you so much for letting me speak and babble. And we'll listen until you decide to leave.
Thank you, Betty. Thanks for coming up here. Go ahead, Chris. I know you're trying to get in here.
Betty's so sweet. I just gotta let her keep going, right? So, Walter, I don't know if you saw this. This is classic. The incoming UN Security Council president is Somalia's UN ambassador, and so the president and CEO of a home healthcare company in Ohio.
Yes, I know. I saw it earlier. And not only that, Chris, not only that, he has also been prosecuted for Medicaid fraud. I kid you not. I mean, it's comically retarded at this point. It's comically ridiculous, the stuff that's happening. I mean, the fact that this is even possible is amazing. Like I don't even know how to describe. Every time I think about it, I'm like, how is this happening? But it's everywhere. It's everything. We give them 20 weeks off. We pay their debt. They own healthcare businesses while they're on the UN Council. Is he even how is that possible? Are you telling me that this guy does he live in Somalia and he owns a healthcare business here? Like, I don't understand how that works. So someone I haven't even figured that part out yet. But yes, I did see that. And Data Republican was talking about it earlier. I was like, what? Of course it is. Of course he probably owns a couple daycares in Minnesota too. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, what are we doing here? Every Somalian owns daycares and they own a healthcare center. Every single one of them. Oh, and they all get federal money and you're paying for it and they're not paying taxes on it. Like, it's just ridiculous, and it just keeps going. Crow and Nation, you've been have your hand up forever. Go ahead.
Okay, a couple of things. Circling back to why you couldn't understand why these people can do things like put paper signs on the door and think that we're all going to buy it. You have to remember the average IQ for a Somalian is 63.
Yep.
Okay, so that's why they think we're going to buy it, because they think we're retarded too. All right.
Well, the problem with when you're stupid, Crow, is that you don't know that you're stupid. That's a real problem with being dumb, that you don't actually know that you're as dumb as you are. That's one of the issues with this.
Okay, the second thing that I wanted to talk about was the federal income tax and how people are coalescing together, because I've actually heard from a lot of people today, and they're like, we don't want to pay taxes anymore. How do we do that? Well, see, the thing is if you work for a standard employer, you fill out that form for your W-2, and they're automatically taking out money. So for people who are not self-employed, they're actually paying every paycheck the taxes. What would have to be done is you would have to either claim exempt, which your employer is going to go ballistic if you do that, or claim a bunch of deductions, and you could do that. You could claim, I don't know, what is it, dependents or something. Instead of doing just one, you can claim 10, or something like that, because they're automatically taking the money out. But the way to make the dent is if they start realizing that the money ain't coming in the first place.
Well, and
And
the
so,
reality is it wouldn't matter. Like, as much as I find it funny, like if the people just tried to stop paying taxes, because the people that would do it really, there'd be, if 10 million people tomorrow stop paying taxes, it would be the people
yeah,
that are either they're already employed by somebody else, so that wouldn't matter there. But further than that, the people that really pay taxes in this country, like all of the taxes are paid by the upper 20%, essentially. Like almost all of them are, and they're
right.
not going to do that. So it's not like it's that big a deal. But I do wonder what happens if like 10 million people just refuse to file next year. I mean, what
Yeah.
the hell happens then? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Well, I
these are
mean,
things we might find out. This is going to be real interesting. I mean,
but
if you keep showing fraud at such a massive scale, that very well might happen. So I don't know what happens if 10 million people don't file their taxes, but we very well might find out. So it should be pretty entertaining
well,
to see.
but Walter, the thing is that Trump has been, and I know, most people have not commented on my posts about this because it is a touchy subject. But Trump has danced around the fact that he would like to end the federal income tax. And if he did that, because actually before 1913, we funded the federal government with tariffs. Now, granted, the government wasn't as big as it is now, but do we really need it that big as it is now? That's a good question. Was your life, everybody needs to think, was your life really impacted during the government shutdown? Was it impacted in a major way? If not, then we could go back to the 1913 method. And he has danced around that. He has
Well,
made
as much as I
comments
like the
about that.
idea, I would love that to happen. I do. I think it'd be fantastic, but that would be Congress's decision, and Congress is terrible. So that'll never pass. So you
Well,
got to
that's
remember.
why we got to give him. We got to give him the super majority. We got to get in the midterms.
Yeah, well, you got to
gotta
get a
do
super.
it.
You got to get him a super majority, but the only way you can get a super majority is if the current Congress actually does their job, and they're not doing it. So like that's the problem. To be able to, it's a double-edged sword currently. Like to be able to get things done, we need Congress
Right.
to act, and since Congress isn't going to act, they're going to lose, which means the Democrats will be back in charge, and then nothing's going to happen. So we have to win.
We'll be worse off.
What we really need to happen is we need to win primaries. That's what needs to happen. We need to win a lot of primaries. We need to win a lot of them, and that's what everyone should be focused on. So, all right, we got another hand here. What is up, Kevin Castley?
Hi, thanks for having me on here. It's an interesting conversation so far. I just want to highlight a couple points. So I'm from Canada, and people
I'm sorry.
in the United States often, I know people in the United States often point out, the income tax disaster and everything, but understand it can get a lot worse. So,
but trust me,
Canada,
I'm aware of how bad it is up there. So I know it can get worse.
85% of the working population in Canada is an income tax contributor, whereas in the U.S. is about 50%. But I did just want to kind of point out, though, there is this idea that it's essentially you just take for granted the established way of doing things. But China, only 5% of their working population pays income tax, and they've had numerous wins in innovation. So the next time somebody out there tries to say, oh, well, you need to keep the system going because it's responsible for what? For the superpower stuff, for the innovation, for the technical angle, or the military. Well, China can do it with 5% of their population paying income tax. Then we can, is what I would say. So thank you.
Well, the deal with China, though, is that because they're a communist party, they already own the industries, essentially. So that's how they make their money. I mean, they don't have to have an income tax because they make the money from the companies. Like, it doesn't matter to them. That's part of it.
Well, that's kind of base, though, if you think about it, right? Because
No, not really, because then nobody owns anything. And I don't like the government owning everything. And then they do stuff like, slaughter entire populations of people because they like their organs. So I'm not a huge fan of that either. So, there's kind of a problem there. But anyway, we've got another hand here. What's up, Tommy?
Yeah, Walter, I just came back up because I think that what the Trump administration should do is get a couple sponsors, put a bill on the table that and they just publicize that we want to abolish federal income tax for all Americans and replace it with, like, say, a national sales tax. That would be the death of the Democrat Party. If they put that out there and the Democrats voted against that, and one thing I can tell you, knocking thousands of doors a week now, there are two things universally hated by most Americans, regardless of their political leaning. They hate property tax on their home and they hate federal income tax. All the Trump administration has to do is find a way to put those two things forward across the states. We will sweep the midterms, and that would be the last nail in the coffin for the Democrat Party for the 21st century. Thanks, guys. I'm out.
Why would
Well,
we need,
go ahead.
I don't think we would need a national sales tax. It seems like the tariffs are doing a wonderful job. The tariffs are already paying, we're getting tons of money in. Almost $1 trillion or more in investment, more than $1 trillion in investment pledges into the United States. We have money coming in like never before. If we're going to do a national consumption tax or sales tax or whatever you want to call it, that's obviously a great dialogue to talk about. But the reality is tariffs are doing more than enough. The problem is our government is funding things to levels that never be funded. There is no reason. Elon Musk talks about this, how he argues that 20 to 30% of the expenditure of our government is fraud. And not only that, but he said early on, if you guys remember with Doge, before he started getting firebombed, he said, the system is set up to not catch the fraud. That's the crazy part about it. It's set up intentionally to not catch the fraud. The dudes in the, on the tricycles in the mine are not designed to catch the fraud. Everything going into one bank account and then just checks being written out of one account for trillions of dollars in government. It's designed to not catch the fraud, because that is what really, quite frankly, that's the black hand that washes the other hand, right? And so that's the underbelly of government, and everyone knows it. And this is why Trump administration is receiving so much pushback.
Yeah, it is. And that's part of the other reason here. Like, if we actually got rid of all the fraud, like say we got rid of the fraud, the $1.5 trillion, if it is truly 20% of the budget, which it very well could be, that's what Elon guessed it as. And I trust Elon's numbers because he's pretty good with numbers. So it's possible that if we got rid of all the fraud, we would actually have a surplus. That's reality. So if we actually had a surplus, that's pretty ridiculous just to think about. But again, the problem is that the grift levels are so ridiculous. Like you said, the tricycles. I love that video of those freaking hobbits riding around on those bikes down in the bottom of that mine shaft. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, it's just everything about it's like. But then again, you look at everything else we're finding now. I guess this is just par for the course. This is how it all works. Every level of government's retarded. It's, again, the one thing I will say about this is, like, as much as I despise all this stuff, you have to imagine, my grandfather worked for the WHO. So he traveled the world and built things for WHO. He built wells in countries all over the world. And he used to say the same sort of thing. He said, our government may not be great, but it is way better than everywhere else. So can you imagine how horrible it must be in other places? Like, if it's this is bad here, imagine what it must be like in every other country. Like, I can't imagine. Like, it must be absolutely atrocious. The one thing I will say about all this, though, is that I think that the Trump administration's idea right now is they want to try and grow ourselves out of the problem. But the deal is that you should still fix the problem. That's what my theory on it is. Like, if you grow yourself out of the debt problem, you grow yourself out of the inflation problem, you grow yourself out of it, but you could still trim all this crap and still do that. Like, you would even make it even better. That's my point on it. So I think that they need to get through some of this stuff. They need to get some wins in the courts so that they can start axing these agencies, because the agencies and the NGOs, like, we just need to stop. Like, I don't understand how it would be so difficult to say non-governmental organizations should not get government funding. I don't see a problem with that. Okay. Like, I'd like, if you're a non-governmental organization getting government money to operate, then you're just a governmental organization. So
You're governmental.
yeah, you're governmental. So I'm not a huge fan of the whole idea. Like, I just think we just need to get rid of them. And especially because, but here's part of that problem. So, and this is what I was alluding to in the beginning of the show. How much fraud is there? Well, you got to think about how many people actually work for these things. That's what I was talking about. 10% of the federal work or the national workforce works for a nonprofit of some kind. But that doesn't account for all the LLCs that those NGOs might then own. You're talking about, it could be upwards of 20% of our workforce, which is, again, gets me into the world is over. It's all fake. We're all going to die. That's like, I don't know. It just kind of gets ridiculous when you think about it, because if 20% of our workforce is funded by the government, then shit. I mean, how do you fix that? Because if you axe it, then you've lost 20% of the income for the entire country, and that would crash the economy and everything would suck. So I don't know. There's got to be some way to fix it, but I haven't thought of it yet. So when I come up with it, I'll let you know. All right. Someone had their hand up here. So go ahead.
Got 3 hands, Walter. We got Tommy, then we got Tommy Casanova, and we have Henry.
Okay. Let's go with the new Tommy.
Hey guys, Walter, thanks for the space. Thanks for letting me come up. I just want to say really quick, as a Minnesota resident and business owner, we just found out today our property taxes are going to go up about 7%. We also just had the new Family Leave Act that's going to be regulated by the same agency that manages unemployment, which is full of fraud as well. So yes, it's very frustrating listening to everybody speak. What do we do as citizens? There's not much we can do, but I mean, eventually people got to have had enough. The amount of money that's coming out of the dollars we earn is getting just grossly overtaken from us.
I agree. I mean, there has to be a fever pitch at some point, which I actually think that we're there. Like, if you go look at the polling, okay, so Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen Polling, him and I chatted at AmFest pretty extensively about this stuff. The polling showed that when the Doge was ripping apart the government, like tearing things up and ripping it through contracts and doing all this stuff, it said that polling was extremely high on all that. It was like 68%. It was massive. It was a massively high polling on that stuff. And why is that? Because everyone knows what the problem is. The government is the problem. But then if you stop doing that, then everyone goes, well, you're just going to let the government keep going. So then they all hate you. Well, that's the problem.
Right.
So.
And now this new leave that launched today that we've been preparing for as business owners, people can take off 12 to 20 weeks in a year, in addition to Family Medical Leave Act and everything else. And as a small business owner, I have to guarantee them employment when they return. Well, in my situation, I don't have layers and layers of management or extra staff sitting around. So the job's got to get done. And if they're gone for 4 months, now I've got to figure out, what do I do now? It just adds to more unemployment claims. This Leave Act adds more expenses out of my payroll. So it's just asinine. And it's so frustrating. It's like they're trying to kill small business owners. And that's what makes the world go round.
Well, and the intention to try and get rid of small business has always been the intention of the Democrat Party. They hate small business. Small business is the best thing in this country. It's where all of our innovation comes from. It's where all of the most interesting jobs comes from. It's where all of the most interesting products come from. And they're desperate to kill it. They'd rather just be the big corporate ones that barely do anything. I mean, that's just reality. If you really want to see how that gets killed, if California, if they actually pass that wealth tax, Silicon Valley is going to evaporate. Overnight, Silicon Valley will disappear. Not a single one of those companies will stay there. If they institute that wealth tax, Silicon Valley will be a ghost town by the end of that year. It really would be. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, and this is the same policies that actually created the crisis on unemployment in the COVID era, right? And so you had Indeed, major online job board had to change their algorithm. Their algorithm got broken because people were fraudulently pretending like they were qualified for jobs. Businesses were trying to hire, but they couldn't get anybody too qualified or serious about even showing up for an interview because they didn't have to. They were protected, and so, and I'm for folks having, paid leave, right? But we know what's going to happen here. Good luck trying to run your business during Thanksgiving and Christmas. You won't have anybody showing up for work, and you're going to have to pay them anyway. You know what I mean? And so this is and this is the conundrum and the hypocrisy of today's pro-worker Democratic Party is they want to say, oh, all of this is what we did, right? Like this is all great until all these people go to part-time jobs and all these people get put down to the threshold where the business doesn't have to hold doesn't have to employ these people and give them these benefits like that. Now they're going to complain. Well, what happened to the good job? Well, you did this, like the mayor in San Francisco, who signs into law a $5 million reparation or $5 million per Black resident in reparations, and then funds it at $0. It's all show,
Yep.
and that's the worst part about this process, and the worst part about these people. They're not serious people. And they have no care in the world for the repercussions of a business owner because most of them haven't run businesses. Most of them haven't been in that situation. Like when they shut down in COVID, they use gender identity laws and they use COVID lockdown rules to completely obliterate small business. These people poured their blood, sweat, and tears into their business, and they just get shut down because they're a gym and don't want their people to be masked while they're running on a treadmill at high rates. You know what I mean? Give me a freaking break.
Yep. Yep. I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, they don't have any interest and they don't care really. a lot of the problem is like what you said though. They've never run businesses. They don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about a business. You know, there's the attitude that Obama said. Remember what Obama said about your business? You didn't build your business. That's what Obama said. He said, you didn't build it. It wasn't you. You didn't do it. And that comes from a community organizing useless weasel. Okay. I mean, that's somebody that doesn't know anything about business. Somebody that doesn't know that business owners, the people that are successful in business, spend hundreds of hours every week building that business. Spend every waking second they can thinking about not only themselves, but all of their employees, how they keep their food on the table for their employees, hoping they don't have to run into some issue where they lay them off and are worried that, oh my goodness, they're not going to be able to feed their families for Christmas or not going to be able to get their kids Christmas presents. That's the kind of stuff the business owners worry about on a regular basis. That's the real American, okay? Like real American business owners care about their employees. They do. Now, you know who doesn't give a shit about their employees? Mega corporations that just say, well, Axe 5%, we need to cut off the bottom line. There's a huge difference. Okay. And, you know, there's another thing that people don't realize. You know, when people talk about the tax rate in the country, and this is something that annoys me endlessly about the Democrats, they scream about taxes. Oh, my God, the corporate taxes, the corporations are getting the free taxes. They got low taxes. Well, you also forget that any LLC is a corporation. Okay. So that includes the gas station. It includes the mom and pop shop. That includes the diner that you like eating at. That's an LLC. So who do you think gets hurt when you raise the taxes? Do you think Amazon gives a flying fuck if you change the tax rate? No, they call their box company, say, all right, reduce box width by 7%, and that'll cut our bottom line off, and that'll pay for the taxes that they just increased. They don't care at all. Doesn't mean anything to them. Now, the mom and pop diner, if you raise their taxes by 10%, the only solution they have is raise prices. That's the only solution they have. It's the only thing they can do is raise prices to deal with that. But no one thinks about that. No one thinks about that at all. You know, the Democrats don't think about that at all. They don't care about small businesses. They would rather Walmart, Amazon, and Google own everything. They don't care. It doesn't mean anything to them. And that's the joke of the Democrat Party. They claim that they care about the small people in this country. If they cared about people, they would care about small businesses, but they don't.
The more small people there are, the more control they have, Walter.
Well, that's what they want.
Yep.
You know, that's the deal.
Yep.
All right.
That's the only reason I care about them.
All right.
You got Booby and Tommy if you want to go to more hands, Walter.
Yeah, we'll go to Booby and we'll go to I just love the name. Go ahead, Booby.
Yeah, great space and two great hosts. You know, you're legendary. And I'll be quick. You know, a lot of people want to speak because spaces are always very popular and rightfully so. I'm here in New York, and it's a bad day for New York. You know, it's really a bad day. You know, people are excited about this crook. You know, the reason I call him a crook Mandani is because he was sworn in by a crook. You know, Letitia James has no reason, no right to swear anybody into anything.
Well, now listen, Booby, just a real comment here real quick. I was confused because I saw the Sasquatch standing up there next to Mamdani, and I don't know where he got there. Like, and I didn't realize that Sasquatch was in New York. But people were telling me this is Letitia James. I was not convinced. So, I just wanted to point that out. I saw that video and I was very confused. I asked why the Sasquatch was there. No one had an answer for me. But go ahead. Sorry, I just had to bring that in there.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. You know, you're not too far off. So my thing is that just lets you know after 4 years, if this guy makes it 4 years, okay, he's going to do so much criminality to where, you know, he's unaccountable. You know, he's part of the protected class now, where these people just rule over us. You know, so being that said, you know, it's a microcosm of what's really going on. You know, and all, you know, for the most part, he's an exception, but for the most part, it's through these unelected officials that are running things.
Yep.
So in the meantime, you know, you don't want to use the V word. You know, that's the last resort. You know, our courts are captured. What can we do to fight back with these people? You know, they steal our money, you know, and they laugh in our face, you know. They want us to think that they care what we say, but they don't care what we think or say. You know, what can we do short of the V word? And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Listen to me. Listen to me. I know what you
Thing.
mean. I know what you mean, and it gets frustrating for a lot of people. And the only thing I'll tell you right now is the only thing you can do is you can vote for better people. Okay, and you as a person, you can go out and try and get 100 other people to vote with you for better people. Okay, and you know, everyone that sits out there and says you can't do anything, that's not true. Okay, I don't buy into that. I refuse to buy into that. I don't subscribe to the black pilling notion because it doesn't get you anywhere. It only upsets you. It only puts you in a frustrated mindset, and it's only going to make you think that there's nothing you can do to fix your country. You can do something to fix your country. Go get 100 other people to help you fix it. That's the best way to go. Now, if you can't vote in your area, like say your area is someplace that's completely captured, okay, well then go help someone in the local areas around it and help other people. I mean, that's the way to do it. Okay, just go and work with people and keep voting because we're not going to tweet our way out of this, guys. We're not going to tweet our way out of it. We're not going to podcast our way out of these problems. The only way to fix our country is to vote. Go knock doors. Go figure out anything you can do and work with as many people as you can and get people to understand the scenario that you're in because eventually someone will realize it. And Dan Bongini used to say it on a show. He would say it all the time. You know, is it bad enough yet? That's the question. You got to ask people, is it bad enough yet? Apparently for New York, it wasn't bad enough yet in the most recent election, and they didn't realize what was happening. And, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people are leaving New York. That's the real problem that you have. But the deal is that you got to find some way to vote because the only solution you have as an American citizen to solve the problems from government is to put better people in office so they can fix the problems for you. So if you can't fix it in your area, go find some area that you think is possible to switch and some place that you think it's possible to actually make a real difference and vote there and help those people vote and get those people up and moving and motivated to actually do something. That's the real solution. That's the only solution, really. All right, we're going to go to one more hand and then we're going to end this show for the evening. Go ahead, Tommy.
Hey, guys, I really appreciate the mic. I know I'm not a great public orator, so thank you guys when you do give me the mic. I just wanted to say, everyone in Minnesota, there's something you can do right now. I think Mike Lindell is a great American patriot that has sacrificed a lot to get Trump into office and to fight the corruption and to fight, for voter ID. So right now for the governor race there, he needs support right now. I'm hoping enough noise could be made so that Elon Musk pours money directly into his campaign. Because I can tell you, he needs it.
Yeah, let me tell you, Tommy, I love Mike. All right. I love Mike Lindell. I think he's great. I think he's fantastic. He has zero chance of winning that race. And I don't want him to run, honestly. I love Mike Lindell. I think he's a good guy. I know people that know him personally. He should not run. Okay. Like him or not. And I must have freaking 10 My Pillows. I'm not even kidding. Like I've got a shitload of those damn things. Okay. Like, I mean, everybody I know has My Pillows. I like Mike Lindell. I think he's a great guy. Personally, I think he's great. I think he's awesome. He's also a freaking lunatic. Okay. He is completely unhinged lunatic. Like he will not win that election. So I don't think it's a good idea for him to run at all. And I've actually already spoken to people and people don't think it's a good idea either. So, I like Mike. I don't think he should run. I don't think that's the position for him. Now, maybe he can get the base hyped up and then he can get behind somebody else and he can serve a purpose in that race. But in terms of him winning, that would never happen. Unfortunately, I just don't think so. So, not to rain on that parade a little bit, but I like Mike Lindell, but he would not win an election in Minnesota. It would not happen. All right, guys.
Walter, before we close off,
yeah, go ahead.
A little bit of hope. New York, unfortunately, California, the same thing. Even in Minnesota, because of the millions of the Somalis that have flooded in here in this situation. What we're going to see, I think we'll potentially see here in the coming year or two is going to be the move by this administration to be able to get some authority from a federal level on elections that involve federal candidates. And by doing that, force these states to clean their rolls, to verify citizenship, to scrub their rolls. And then, of course, we're going to go into the census, right? So unfortunately, in the short term, we have a compromise system that is not legal and legit according to our own State Department standards, right? But you have to bear down. You have to support people. You still have to go out and vote and get a bunch of people to go vote and believe in the system, knowing in a couple of years the return on the investment will be very real. Okay, because there is a move to legitimize our elections and to hold people accountable that stole your vote. And ironically, stole Democrat people's votes as well, American votes, because these votes were not real. Joe Biden, I mean, they just weren't real. The system, we now know in Georgia, there was obviously not real votes that took place there, or votes that should have been thrown out because they didn't have signatures. That alone by state law should have been thrown out. But we also know this is the case that some of these blue states, I think it's 11 blue states, aren't sharing the data with the federal government because they know what's going to come. And so this is gonna run out in a period of time. We're gonna see the rolls scrubbed. We're finally, hopefully, fingers crossed, going to have legitimate elections in the near future. So that's my moment of positivity at the end of this. You got to look long term going in. I agree with you, Walter. Unfortunately, the situation in Minnesota is not electable, in my personal opinion, at this moment. But it could be in 2030, 2028, or 2030.
No, I didn't say not electable. I said not electable for Mike Lindell. I think there's other people that might be able to win in Minnesota, and I'll talk about that another night.
Yeah,
so I think that's possible. But yes, but in terms of us actually fixing the country and actually fixing some of these elections, yes. I mean, listen, guys, if we actually manage to clean the voter rolls up and we actually manage to fix some of the census data and a lot of these other things, we can take this country back, and we are making progress. Okay, like everyone wants everything to happen right away. It's not going to happen right away. It's going to be the long march to be able to fix this country that's going to fix it. It's not going to be overnight. It is not going to be done through, tweeting, and not going to be done through podcasting. It is going to be done from on the ground, real activism that actually gets things done, real exposure that gets fraudsters thrown in jail, and Democrat politicians that are complicit or Republican politicians that are complicit also removed from office. And primaries are the number one way to do that. So we got to make sure we pay attention to these primaries coming up here, guys, because that's the most important time to vote. It is not in November. It is in April or May or whenever your primary is. That is exactly the number one time that you should be focused on voting. It should not be in November. The decision's already been made, and you either get behind the candidate that you either hate or don't hate, and that's your only option. But in primaries, you've got a real choice. So make sure you pay attention to your primaries. Guys, this is the Political Theater. I'm Walter Kerr. This is Chris Marino on here with me on the live version of it. We will be back on, we'll be back tomorrow night. So we'll be back Friday night for more of the Political Theater. And then next week, guys, we've got some big stuff coming, guys. So make sure you guys are subscribed on WCDispatch.com. That's the best way you can follow all the new updates that are going to be coming out. If you are a premium subscriber on X, you will also get insight into what's actually going to be happening, some of the new stuff that's coming out, some of the insight, and that's back in the behind the scenes is what you'll get if you're a subscriber on X. I try to make it a little bit different. But if you go to WCDispatch.com, you're going to get the exclusive articles and all the stuff that's going to be coming out in terms of the fraud investigation we're doing between Minnesota and Ohio. And there's a lot of stuff coming out next week, guys. So I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night. And everyone have a great evening, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
Some folks are born with a liberty spark. Their hearts beat red, white, and blue. When the anchors sneer and the cameras bark, they turn the lens right back at you. Truth bound, ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not the party line sons, no, it ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Some folks inherit silk-lined halls, spend our sweat while preaching share. But when the tax man wraps his knuckles raw, their mansions suddenly look bare, impaired. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're not their banker-raised hares, no. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're the vigilant ones, so. Yes, some paint stars on press room lies and send the common men to toil. Ask them, how much truth will you trade tonight? They mutter, more noise, more noise, more noise. Ain't for sale, ain't for sale. Not the theater's pawns, friend. It ain't for sale, ain't for sale. We're America's steadfast one. No, we won't be spun.